G'day guys, welcome back to Cookie's Fishroom. Thank you for joining me here again. My name is Norm for those who don't know me. I am going to talk to you today about an interesting topic that gets questioned on Cookie's Fishroom quite a fair bit from time to time, depending on the weather, depending on circumstances. Power outages and what do we need to do for those? So this is a tricky topic because there's a lot of variables when it comes to power outages. You know, everybody's homes are different. The weather could be summer, the weather could be winter. We could be having a summer storm or winter storm, or even a spring storm. So it all depends on what time of the year it is, what sort of storms we're having, and what do we have, available to us. So let's start with warmer weather. And I like to carry with myself always, whether it's warm or cool weather, have an air pump that's powered either by solar or by batteries. Batteries is much better because you can just replace them and you don't have to rely on solar charge. So if you can get portable air pumps and then you can add your air lines and air stone to the end of it, that will help you provide the aeration that's required to your tank to help any sort of fish. As you know from our previous videos, aeration is incredibly important to all fish. So have that as your number one priority. Now, number two, what other thing that gets questioned to me is light. Do we need light? So depending on the fish, it's not that important on the list. So fry especially do need 8 hours of light per day to strengthen their bones and importantly their spines, so they don't end up with crooked spines. So, but if they miss a day of light, it's not going to really kill them or affect their spines. So light isn't up there on the top of the list. If you have a generator of some sort that runs on fuel, that is mega handy. If you can have one on hand just for the tank, you can get smaller generators that run on fuel. And if you can get that charged or fuel ones ready to go, you can plug in your lights, your air pump, your filter, and your heater. Those 4 most necessary items in your tank. Now, so assuming you don't have a generator, because not everybody does, and it's quite expensive, you then want to consider the temperature of the tank. Be it summer, be it winter. If it is summer, you don't need to look at ways of heating it up. You then have to consider ways of cooling it down. You can, my personal favorite thing to do, which you can control the temperature a bit more manually and doesn't drop it as fast. So you need to grab yourself, always have a bottle of frozen water in your freezer. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a big one, just a small bottle that has frozen water in it. So you're gonna have that contained within the bottle and you drop that bottle into the tank. Now, you only do this once the temperature hits over the recommended temp that's needed for the type of fish you have. Let's say guppies, for instance. If it hits anything over 28 degrees, I would drop one in at that point. So it will take a little bit of time to cool the temperature down. You will have aeration running from the pumps. That will make sure that the water is moving around, circulating just that little bit. So the more air stones you have, the more circulation you will get from it. And the more the cool water will be moved and shared around the whole tank. Now, assuming that works, the temperature does cool, you don't want it to get too cold. Pull it out and observe the temperature. Now, playing around with it too much can also affect the fish. A quick change in temperature can actually kill your fish. That's why you want to make sure it's done slowly. So you don't want to use a huge amount of ice. And the reason why I say a bottle of frozen water is because you don't want a chunk of ice going in your tank and it melting, because that water and whatever's in that water, if it's chlorine or bacteria of some sort, will still spread into your water and it will make it toxic for the fish. You don't want to do that. If it's contained within a bottle of some sort, it will melt very slowly, but it stays within that bottle and only the temperature changes and no nasties get added to your tank. So be it a smaller bottle, it will do it much slower, which is what we want because we don't want sudden temperature swings. Now, the other thing to be concerned about is if it's the other part of the season where it's really cold. Now, what I do is to heat the tank is much different to what you do to cool one down. You don't put, boil water into a bottle, it'll just scrunch up. Or if you put it into a glass bottle, most of the time it will pop. What you need to do is grab yourself, I usually have about 3 hot water bottles, fill them up with boiling water. So this is for those who have access mostly to a gas stove. Our appliances, our cooking appliances being, we have a gas stove top. You can also buy yourself a camping burner that runs on gas and has a 1 burner on it. And you can heat your water, boil your water up in a pan if necessary, if you don't have a gas stove. So boil your water, put into your hot water bottles. Now you want to place the hot water bottles, if you say you have 3 on them, let's take this tank for example, against the glass on 3 sides. And then what I do is grab either a blanket or a towel and wrap it around the tank, pressing those hot water bottles against the glass or the plastic. It won't affect the plastic at all, it won't affect plants, but it will keep that tank fairly warm. Make sure if you don't have a cover on your tank, you do cover it. And vice versa, if a tank is getting too warm, remove the cover, let the air out, let the temperature cool down. So that's really important to have. Go buy yourself a few hot water bottles and they will make a huge difference to your fish. Now, using this setup of what I just described, whether it be cold or warm, this has pulled me through more than 12 hours of a power outage. We have had up to 3 days and my fish have been fine. You can do water changes during power outages just to make sure your nitrates and your ammonia levels and your nitrites aren't too high because your filter isn't working. That also provides oxygen into the water that's necessary for your fish. Now, keep those things in mind, jot them down somewhere or save this video because it will most likely become handy for you one day if you haven't experienced it just yet. If you have any other suggestions that you would like to make, jot it up, leave a comment. Let us know what you do during a power outage. Thanks again for watching us here at Cookie's Fish Room. I appreciate everything that you guys say, comment, thumbs up, but don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet and hit that notification bell also so you know when we bring out a new video to help you guys out. Jump in on Cookie's Fish Room on Facebook, say hi, post a picture of your tank. I would love to see them. And don't forget, we're on Instagram as well, under Cookies_Fishroom. Love to see you there on all of our social media. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next time with another video. Bye for now.